Welcome to Startup Climb, where we bring you interviews with startup founders. Through this podcast, we hope to go behind the curtains to find out where it all begins. This is an inside look on their journey, their struggles, and how they overcome adversity. Today we have with us the founder and CEO of Daylight Studios, Alwyn Lee. Daylight Studios is a Singapore-based game studio responsible for the Holy Potatoes game. Welcome, Alwyn. So, hi, Alwyn. Thank you so much for actually taking the time to share your journey. So, I'd love to begin if you can start with an introduction about your company and your team.
Hi, so my name is Alwyn. So I'm the founder and the CEO right now for Daylight Studios. We are actually a 9 years old company. We are mainly focusing on games, but recently, last year, we decided to do something special, which create a character called Life with Potatoes. So something to diverge from gaming and actually to make the business model more resilient, not just doing games only.
Right.
And right now, my team size is 5 people. We actually downsized from last year, and there's always a lot of ups and downs during the whole, I would say, business cycle.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the more or less the quick introduction about my company.
Right. So, how do you conceptualize the idea of starting Daylight Studios? Why come into game development? Do you see a gap in the industry or something missing in the industry that you were trying to be a part of?
I would say we started off very naively in a way, because 9 years ago it was the moment where Angry Birds just came out and iPhone 3GS was widely popular and Apple iPhone disrupted the market. So gaming was more, I would say, recognized through mobile gaming, because back then you can only play on PC and console. So we wanted to dive into making just make a game sell for 99 cents and a million downloads. You can, after 70%, you can make a 700K. So and back then gaming was very new topic also, and we were one of the first few batch to have game development major. But I didn't major in game development. I took the modules and actually I mix and match with interactive media, and that was the year also in Singapore NUS actually introduced human-computer interaction, which now is actually more known as user experience. So that's actually how we started. And being a programmer myself, and I wanted to go into a direction of being a user experience programmer. Because if you realize, Apple really changed the way how you do application. It's from the user perspective, not a feature perspective. So that's actually how we started. 3 computer and science students started the company. Yeah.
Right. But why do you choose to develop games instead of apps? There are a lot of productivity apps out there that are getting millions of downloads as well. So why do you choose games? Is it has gaming always been an interest for you?
Correct. So
personally?
the 3 of us, we are actually gamers, and we saw there's a gap. And coincidentally, at that time there wasn't much game studios in Singapore. And actually, to answer your question, we actually started off doing apps as a form of fundraising to make our games.
Oh,
And,
I see.
Yes, at that time it's very hard to learn. I believe that then it's still called Xcode, but I forget what's the language really. I think it's C++. Objective C is really, really hard and it's very new back then. So we were actually selling to make apps, but it was really hard because adaptation rate was really slow and Android haven't came out yet. So people are having some resistance back in 2010 and 2011. Actually, I think iPad was about to came out after the year after later. Yeah, around that period also. So the market wasn't ready. We were actually doing half apps and half gaming. Yeah, to turn our own cash flow. That's how we actually do our own fundraising and do it full time. And also we actually have a full-time job, then quit our full-time job, then do this concept once we have enough cash flow. Yeah, that's how we actually started.
So you all bootstrap through making apps and then trying to sell the apps to fundraise to make your game or something that you're more interested in. Would that be correct?
It's more just take it as a consulting service. We make apps for clients, and we are quite thankful that we got really big clients. So they have it's a 5-digit kind of sum. But right now to make a app is 4-digit you can get it already. So it's a very big difference from 9 years ago. It depends on supply and demand at the point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So for the people out there who might not know much about like building a game, especially in Singapore, could you share a bit about the industry in general?
In general, there's I would say the peak period for gaming in Singapore is in 1.4 and 1.5, which actually the whole world start to expand really fast when free to play freemium gaming start to comes to the picture.
Right.
So games are free, and that's why, because it's free, people will actually download much easier.
Right.
And gaming in general, actually, there were quite a lot of companies in 1.4 and 1.5 because actually the government is very supportive. And then after that, the initiatives start to die down because there's too much at that point. If you go and study the history, actually I went to analyze it. So 1.4 and 1.5, there's really a lot of game companies then actually slide down because everyone then realized free to play is not as what you see. Because although there's a lot of reports that says free to play are making millions of dollars, but in order to make the millions, you need to pump a lot of money, and there's a lot of marketing involved, and you know a lot of analytics, data analysis, CPI, CPM, you need to know the ARPU, the average revenue per paying users.
Right.
A lot of these kind of terms that you need to understand. So right now, I would say there's not much Singapore game developers. There's still a handful of them still very passionate in this industry. So yeah, that's basically the situation right now, I would say, in Singapore.
Would you say that the majority of the cost of creating a game comes from the marketing aspect of it, like you have to get it out there, versus actually developing the game in general?
Depends on what type of game. So for us, just using us as a sample, the main bulk of the cost is definitely the manpower. And for us, we make premium games. We actually manage our fastest record. We actually made a game in 6 months. We actually squeezed like 10 people to really to come out with a Holy Potatoes in 6 months. The first Holy Potatoes took about 1.5 years to 2 years to make. So the main bulk of the cost is there. And the biggest challenge is when you make the game, because it's such a long period, you need to do marketing and posting on social media to get people to know about it. So until you launch the game, it's almost like a movie or a book. You will know how much money it's going to make. So it really depends on how much effort you have done to promote your game. Let people know this game is coming. Let people try alpha, beta, and so on and so forth. Let the press try the game, and let YouTubers. Back then, there's not much social media influencers, so you have to try to talk to like online bloggers. Like back then, there was a blog is the trend. It's only 1617 like Markiplier, all that come out. We were very lucky. We got Markiplier to play our game in 1.5. Yeah, that was his peak period also.
Right.
Yeah, so it really depends on the market trend, and which you can never catch. So I wouldn't say mainly is marketing. There's a lot of factors that determine. The biggest bulk is still the manpower, definitely.
Okay, got it. So I think I want to dive a bit deeper into like the industry in general. So would you say that like the industry itself is very cash intensive? And if so, a lot of people are not really able to sustain their game development. So therefore maybe halfway through they just run out of cash and therefore they are unable to finish their game. Does that happen a lot in the industry?
Really depends on how you see it, because at the end of the day, it depends on what is your mentality and your mindset and how resilient are you. Because when we first started, I always believe that I read also a lot of books. Never start a business for money, because you will be driven by trying to squeeze your product out as fast as possible, get it out of the market, and may not be of the best quality. And yet, the sad truth is you also need money to sustain yourself, to make a living, and so on and so forth. So it's how you balance these two equations. So for me, I'm also, other than just doing gaming, I have a consulting firm to give consultancy for UX and programming. So that's how I actually sustain myself. If not, doing 100% full-time on gaming is almost impossible. I'm sure you have heard like Stardew Valley or even Baba Issue or some other indie game. They're actually doing it over 4 years. I'm pretty sure it's not full time, and they actually I don't think they actually release or mention how do they actually finance themselves much.
Right.
Definitely, it's all boils down to how passionate you are in making this really your dream game, and yet sustaining yourself at the same time. Also, partially it depends on the environment. Singapore can be quite stressful and can be quite fast paced.
Right.
I went to Prague and take a look. The environment is very different. You know, European is very arty kind of.
Right.
They are focused on art a lot. Yeah, so there's a lot of factors to it, I would say. Yeah, so it's how you balance money and passion at the end of the day.
Right. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but just now you did mention that you're specialized in making premium games, which means
Yes.
users generally have to pay first to buy the game per se. So are there like microtransactions in your game where like they get to buy in-game currency, etc.?
Yeah, zero. So we go into premium game is primarily is because if you think about 10 or 20 years ago, there's no concept of freemium concept, premium gaming or like free to play, then you in-app purchase to sustain the whole like game economy.
Right.
And people mainly buy the game, they like the game, and they become a fan of the game. So that's the concept we are trying to bring back in a way. And I can tell you a fact that premium game have a long shelf life. Because the games that we made 4 years ago is still generating revenue till today. And we ported our first game. Really, it was initially on PC. So 4 years ago, there's even Nintendo Switch also. So we port the game to mobile because mobile gaming for premium game also start to boom in round 1.7 or so.
Right.
And then PS4 and Nintendo Switch start to come into the indie scene because if you realize there's not much indie games on PS4 also. Thanks to Nintendo Switch, they disrupted the market, and PlayStation have to also attract the indie players to come in so that they have more games to play with. So yeah, so it really depends on how you see it.
I see. Because I was just wondering that like maybe the reason why freemium games were so popular back in the days was because there was no barrier to entry for a consumer to get the game, which means to say that they can sort of try the game first before deciding if they like the game, and then after that spend money to maybe like speed up game. Like I think like Clash of Clans will be an example where it's free. You go in and maybe if you like the game, you can spend and buy their in-game currency. Right. So I was just wondering, but I think you sort of touched on it at the moment, is that how do you get people to continue supporting your game after they paid for the game? Because there's no microtransactions. So if let's say they really like the game, there's no way for them to further support you other than the initial purchase of the game.
Right. So we tried several methods. That's why we actually churn out game after game as fast as possible, like 1 year, and churn out the next. We are one of the few companies that churn out 4 games over 4 years already. It's really tiring. So that's where we actually build products over products so that people that never heard of Woody Potatoes, let's say we now have 4 games. If you never heard of it, you might even buy all the games at a discount. So we still can monetize the user at different points, depending on what platform, what age group, and that's the strategy is keep stacking on Holy Potatoes branding. Because if you realize, when is the last time you remember a game that you last played? You remember the title very well, or the character, or something significant in the game. There's so many game developers. How to let yourself be unique enough people can remember you easily. So that's the strategy we are building. That's why we also analyze why games like Final Fantasy, right? When Final Fantasy 7 is a very nostalgia game, when you come up again, people like me that play the pirated version will want to support the original because now people actually has more spending power. It's very different from 4 years ago, or even 9 years ago. The spending power is very different. Free to play works 5 or 6, only 1.4 or 1.5 because spending power is not there yet. But 1.7 they start to have a shift. My personal opinion is because free to play has reached to the point it become, I would say, unethical in a way. Because even myself, we actually made free to play games before. We actually learned from Konami how they monetize is to the point has a lot of psychology behind how to make you pay money.
Right.
Your first package will be very attractive to make you to do the investment, and once you have invested, the chances of you buying again is very high. Even I tested it on myself because you already invested in the game.
Right.
But if you think about it, why you play premium games? Because it's a sense of belonging that you like the IP, like the characters you want to keep supporting. So we actually, just to backtrack, I went off a bit. So how we do that, other than keep making games again, we try to do merchandise to actually sustain. But it didn't work out as what I wanted it to be because cost is quite high in terms of shipping from Singapore. But at least I get to know actually most of these big companies sustaining on merchandise, the profit margin is really, really, really high. I can tell you that. Yeah. So I'm trying to emulate certain strategies and keep trying out also along the way. So there will be hit or misses. So at the end of the day, it's still I still believe in branding and keeping on to the Holy Potatoes brand at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah, that is my strategy.
Do you feel that being a game developer in Singapore is a disadvantage versus being a game developer in other regions, like maybe, for example, the US, where you have a lot of access to large-scale influencers and like game reviewers, and they'll be more likely to cover your game because it's in the US versus it's a Singapore company? Do you feel like there's a disadvantage there?
For me, so it really depends on how you see it. For me, I will try to make the disadvantage to my advantage and vice versa, because the fact that Singapore is a very unique country whereby we are exposed to the East and the West. If you realize,
Yep.
we actually can play Chinese game if you know Chinese quite well and you know all the 精油武校 and so on and so forth. Unlike the English, they won't be able to play Chinese game because they cannot understand Chinese or Japanese. And we are quite exposed to manga culture and Korean culture and so on and so forth. So I'm actually using that to my advantage, that I can incorporate all this, mix and match. And if you also done a studies, Japanese game has their own unique style. The like Clash of Clans, all that, or Riot, like LOL, they have their own style. So we try to fusion and mix and match and become our own culture in a way in the game, so that it can be a balance. Chinese game is very into like fighting and PvP and guild. Yeah, if you go down really deep to analyze all these game mechanics, and they will be flooded with game features for Chinese game. But in the US or Europe, they like casual, they like pretty stuff, and they like it easy. So it's trying to find the balance between these two, and that's why I think that is to our advantage. We can get to see this both side of the equation and become our advantage. And why I insist on potato is because everyone in this world will know what is a potato. So if there's no cultural barrier, let's say a female, let's use a female character, the way how the East perceive and how the Japanese perceive is going to be very different, and the Chinese is also going to be different, how they perceive beauty. So we try to remove that barrier and just make it a potato that's much easier for everyone to understand. So that's the angle how we put it to our advantage.
Right. I was actually going to ask you what was the story behind the potato, like why potato and not like some other item or some other character? Was it like they hold like a special significance to your heart? Like how did your team first decide on I want potato and not like broccoli or something? Right.
Actually, my art director was just trying out many different characters. I think he just stumbled upon there's this character in Adventure Time and plus a bit of Minions kind of concept. And he was just playing with some animation. Hey, this one looks interesting. And we already know the game that we wanted to make, which is a simulation game to sell weapons. Because we kind of like Kairosoft games. They make a lot of simulation games, and there isn't much PC game which pertaining to simulation. So, and we saw Steam back then and Steam Green. I don't even know what is Steam back then. In the 1.4 era, and we got Greenlee, and we actually get popular from there. So it really depends on try and error. I would say you will know what is the right art style until you some light tell you, this is the right style.
Right.
So that's how we got into potatoes, and coincidentally it fits out, turns out very well. Yeah.
Okay, that's honestly like very interesting because I thought it was like a very like maybe like you're a fan of potatoes and like you've always liked potatoes and then like you use that as your character. But
Yeah, it's a bit of trial and error, definitely.
right. So let's move a bit into like the business side of things. So how far into starting Daylight Studios before you meet your first hire, and like what was the point where you felt I can't do it alone? I need to hire somebody else to help me out. And what was the function that you hired for? Yeah.
Back then, when we got our first investment, we started in 2011. We got our first investment quite early in 2012 already, because we were building games on feature phone, which is your own local handphones. We actually squeeze in a whole MMORPG and free-to-play mechanics into your own local handphones. So that's where we actually got the confidence from shareholders we can really make good, engaging game and actually monetize from there. So we were, and also back then, we got the code from, we understand how Konami made freemium games, so we actually decided to dive into mobile gaming, our first iOS game. And back then, there's also no Unity, so we have to learn everything from scratch, how to do multi-platforms from just iOS and Android. Yeah, so we decided to expand the team, get more people, because 3 people, we actually outsourced the art. Back then, we didn't have an artist. So that's how we built the team to actually properly plan the game and see how we can continue to keep building game after game. Then we actually got more funding later to actually expand the team, not just doing game. We were trying out to do publishing to bring games from Japan to Southeast Asia. And Thailand and Indonesia is a very big market because Singapore is rich in terms of average player per user, but there's no mass. So we got the idea and also we decided to pitch for more investment to expand to Thailand and Indonesia. But there's a lot of hiccups along the way. So now it's not functioning for the publishing side. But we learned a lot from there. And then we moved into premium game and then we been there since then in a way. So there's a lot of, it really depends on how you actually react to the market needs or rather. Yeah.
Right. So what was your first hire was an artist or was it like a project manager or artist, right?
Yeah, because project management normally is done by ourselves and game design, and we have a CTO back there. He's the one that spearhead all the the technology advancement. For me, I'm doing anything minus technology and minus business. So I do admin, legal, finance, HR, and more of the operation to make sure everything is the salary and so on and so forth. Actually, because I'm not even finance trained, so that's the most toughest part. Thankfully, my brother is an auditor, so I saw a reverse engineer because auditor is very different from accountant. So I need to think from the accountant point of view and how he will audit. So that's where I learned all this. Yeah.
Right. So like I think you were talking about investments just now. So how big of an impact do investors have on a business and its operations? So like maybe we talk about strategic impact first. Like what did they bring to the table other than just cash flow?
Definitely one thing they bring is connections, because after we are 3 very young, like I think we were 27 or 28 only.
Right.
So and they are really well connected. They can bring in partners. So we actually have a Japanese investor. That's how we get a deal to actually publish a game. We got a game from Japan actually to license it and bring it into South Asia. If you're quite a nobody, it's almost even hard. It's so hard to even knock the door to us, say that we are ready to publish your game.
Right.
So that's where the investor is very important. It helps to open the door up. And actually that's really the fundamental of business 101, build connections.
Right.
And always build from top down rather than bottom up. Because if you know as many C-suite level people, it helps to understand their business model and you can see even how they run a company and you can learn a lot from there, how you do AGM, how to be a director and so on and so forth. So it's a lot more of knowing, seeing how they run a business. Although most of them are not I would say not involved in the gaming industry. Only one of them knows about the gaming industry. But you can cross-reference how they run their business and learn there and what they can bring to the table.
Right. So I think that is very interesting. So basically what you say that the biggest advantage that they bring to the table are like their connections and how they can connect you with other individuals that might be able to help you take your game to the next level and the whole development team to the next level.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
And one of the investors actually has connections to someone that in Indonesia that helped to set up our team in Indonesia. Thailand, we actually went ahead on our own, which is quite a bad move actually. So yeah, basically it helps to bring a lot of wisdom and a bit of it forms some control to the founders and actually make sure that we are always aligned to the goals that we wanted to meet.
Right.
Because
So
they have been in the business for like, I don't know, 20 or 30 years already.
right.
Yeah.
I would like to touch a bit on, because I saw on your website that there's a DaylightX, which is like an accelerator sort of thing where you help students guide them, mentor them, and for them to publish their game. Am I right to say that?
Correct. So this is something that I was trying out last year is because after knowing all this knowledge, I feel that we should try to help out the community here and try to see whether we can pass down our knowledge and be the publisher ourselves and actually, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, game industry is quite a different market as compared to, let's say you see Grab and Uber last time was competing in Gojek,
Right.
because they are actually their users is they need to get more users. For gaming it's very different because my game don't really fight for your players in your game. You can actually share the same player. So
Right.
I'm more than happy to share the know-how, and that's the whole intention of DaylightX. Because we have connections to publishers where we are actually very close to Apple and we know what Apple are looking for, sort of thing. So, and the whole idea DaylightX is actually incubate people from different, like let's say you are a student doing FYP, because if you are making a game, why not make it into a commercial game? Because making a game and making a commercial game is very big difference. Technically, anyone can make a game, but if you have played a lot of games, even the indies games nowadays are very high quality. You go down to the nitty gritty special effects and the particles, all that, the sound, it is quite precise and almost close to perfection already. So to hit that, you need some experience, and also from what we had based on our past experience, we know what to look out for. Just a simple thing, you need to plan your code correctly to get your game localized correct.
Right.
Imagine our game, we are localized to 7 different languages, and it's very depending on what you did on the first 2 months, because your code structure as a programmer, it is a very painful job to reprogram everything. If you know what you need to do in the future, then that's better to cater for the code structure. So that's where we can share all our know-how and experience. Because game design, there's no right or wrong, I would say. It really depends on what type of game you want to play. So that's the whole idea why I wanted to do DaylightX. So now actually I'm trying to restructure how I want to do DaylightX, because I got quite a lot of feedback and experience from last year. So actually in the process of repackaging it and see how I can help more people. Yeah.
Actually, I just wanted to come into a discussion because this is something that I literally just thought of. It's like I realized that there's a market for like story-based games where like there's like you hide lore in the game. Would that be something that you would consider doing? Like adding story behind your game, like hiding lore and like making some form of continuity between games?
For us, there is some. My plan is to build a whole Holy Potatoes universe, something that and then we can interlink the story. Actually, we didn't think so far when we first started. And 4 games, right? We actually have 4 different writers and 4 different style. So, and because it's really hard to find writers in Singapore, but definitely we are quite a story-driven company. I believe in stories also, and that's why you see all our games actually have quite a not too deep storyline, but at least it's there to enough to try to tell what's going on, and it is aligned with the whole IP that we wanted to build. The Potato Universe, they are doing different tasks in the different simulation game. We actually go to the extent of cooking our potatoes in hell already. Yeah, so we were trying out different styles. I would say that's where that makes the game different, I feel. And why people still can remember certain stories so significantly because it has touched their heart also. Yeah, and
Right.
free-to-play game, you won't hit that because if you think about it, it's endless kind of game. There is some very loose storyline, but I feel that when I play free-to-play game, it might reach to the point I don't know what am I doing. I just keep grinding on it.
Right.
Yeah, so the feeling that we try to put into our game, especially planning the characters and planning the storyline in the particular world, that's the main gist of it.
Right. So you would say like story is actually a very good mechanic for you to get people to continue playing future games because you can sort of continue the lore from there.
Depends. I'll say because most of our games so far has no continuity.
Right.
Yeah. So depends on how you want to add into the game, I would say. Yeah. And
Right.
it depends on so normally I don't restrict my scriptwriter what they want to write. We give them a brief premise on what we want. Then we let them go ahead and write what they think makes sense to them.
Right. Okay. I think that has been pretty cool. I think we have covered a lot about the game industry and games in general. I'd like to move a bit more on like current situation where like now there's like a pandemic going on and like there is an impactful event for a lot of businesses and there's like very severe disruption to business operations with the whole work from home thing. So would you say the same for your company? And if so, like how do you like ensure smooth operations? Like what do you do?
For us, it doesn't really affect much
Right.
because all along I allow my guys to work from home anytime they want, and
Right.
sometimes I don't see anyone in the office also. So I have been quite flexible on that because I believe I rather you save the traveling time to back and forth from office like 2 hours. I mean, and indirectly you can do more work and also you can take more rest and then
Right.
and do more of your time. Because I got one guy, he used to sleep very late because he wanted to stay in the US and Europe time zone to talk to the players. So so it doesn't really affect much, thankfully, because and in fact, during this period, people actually play more game.
Right.
So there was some period of time we were giving our game free. It's mainly is to help out the industry, everyone who is stuck at home also to try our game at the same time promoting our
Right.
game. So I wouldn't say there's a disruption for us. Thankfully, I would say because gaming, I would say, is one of the few industry that it will not be, not say it will not be, but most likely you will see there's a lot of big unless there's like the platform decided not to distribute games. That's the biggest disruption. Other than that,
Right.
almost like no like financial crisis or pandemic can really hit game because it's quite how to say is everyone play games at the end of the day. So it really depends on what game suits them. So I would say that's the challenge for us, how to make people and like our game. That will be always the $1,000,000 question because you can never satisfy every player. Just like you were mentioned, I think you're going to ask me soon also about the reviews, how we handle reviews.
Right.
So we just take it as it is because if you ask 1,000 people, even 1,000,000 people, everyone will have a different opinion of your game. What's most important is the game is good. We think that we are doing our best. I think that's the most important product that we have to show to the public. I think that's the most important. Rather than you just put a game out there for the sake of putting it or for generating revenue or keep sustain a living, that's will be a very different mindset. Yeah.
Right. So let's go a bit more about reviews then. So how do you differentiate a constructive review where like you'll be like, oh, I need to do this. This thing it's a game breaking bug. Or if let's say, hey, that guy sort of makes sense and like maybe I need to shorten the story or I need to accelerate the gameplay. Versus somebody who is just writing a review because he didn't put in much time into playing the game and thus like he might not understand the game as well. So how do you differentiate that? Because I feel like it gets very murky after a while, especially when like the reviews could be very short in nature.
That one it's also try and error, to be honest also. So I would say we will look at all the reviews and all because depends on what's the stage of the review also. Because
Right.
if it's alpha or beta, we still can make changes to it. We think it makes sense, we actually add into the game, no problem. Because the way we plan our game, we actually add in all the features that we can think of, then we remove it or we'll mix and match the different features.
Right.
So at different point on, everyone will have a different opinion on their perfect game, definitely.
Right.
So even ourselves, we have been making games for 9 years. We also mix and match what we think this mechanics makes sense, what we think should be in the game. So there's no right or wrong answers to whose opinion is better. At the end of the day, as a game developer, you are the gatekeeper to make sure that what story or what is the game flow, what is the game loop, and what is the whole experience that you want to portray is to your advantage rather. Because
Right.
so you definitely have to take every feedback with a pinch of salt, or at least pay attention to your close fans. Because we do have some really hardcore fans that I have seen some players know the game better than myself, as a game
Right.
developer. Because you can see actually game guides is mostly community driven
Right.
effort. So that's where you can see people really like your game and how they actually try to break your game in a way. So maybe you find bugs that we never even find our own side. Because game is so hard to do QA at the same time. It's not
Right.
like your application, it's like A to Z, there's a fixed method, but there's so many ways to play a game. So sometimes they cannot even replicate the bug. So unless it's a very serious bug that everybody also encounter, like you cannot go past the game, or there's a safe problem, so that we have to definitely prioritize those kind. Other than that, opinions or bad reviews, there's only so much we can do. At the end of the day, I can't make everybody like our game.
For sure.
I don't think there's a game that is with 100% positive review. Even the best game, Final Fantasy, I like God of War a lot. It was a game of the year. I like Neo Automata, but there's still people who don't like this kind of game.
Right.
So it really depends on, at the end of the day, it really depends on the game developer. What do they want to put into their game? And definitely it has to be the best of the best. Yes, it's much easier if you think from a programmer point of view. You just remove what you don't want to do, and anything is possible than this specific game.
Right. So what would you feel is your greatest achievement or proudest moment so far in your company or like running Daylight Studios?
Definitely it's Holy Potatoes. And whenever I go to trade shows, people can recognize, hey, we are that game that I seen before, that potato game, So
Right.
that we have reached a stage whereby when I go China, when I go, say, trade shows in Japan or US, people actually can recognize your poster art from far. Because ours, if you think about it, it's very colorful, it's always very striking. That's the way our art style has presented. So, and people can straight away remember, because we made already 4 potato games. It's all the same art style, just that it's different themes. Yeah, so, and people still can even, because people actually like to actually talk to a game, they have the chance. So I would say that's the proudest moment, and that's what keeps us moving forward also. And also one of the reasons why I wanted to make Life of Potato to be more flexible, and it's a very different strategy that I want to do also. I just want to highlight a bit, whereby I make an IP first. And then only Holy Potatoes is IP driven. I'm trying to emulate how Mario or Zelda, but those are very high level IP, but why all this IP can keep churning out different products with using the same base character. You can see Mario change from pixel art to your 3D wonderful art also, but it still maintain the same characters and colors and so on and so forth. It makes people easy to remember. So that's the whole strategy we are trying to employ. But you also need to sustain long enough to see the end of the light of the day, because it will take a long progress. You can't expect your first game to be successful. If it's that easy, everyone will be successful. So it takes a lot of resilience. Holy Potatoes were lucky we were hit on the first game, but the subsequent game, it was a bit here and there, and then it was sliding a bit, so we are trying to bring back up again. So we are making a 5th title right now. It's going to be a very different style of game also. So these are some of the things that I have to change along the way, adapt along the way. I was quite thankful I came out of LP last year. No one would have predicted the pandemic this year also. So we have to evolve along the way. But our base DNA is still making games. But actually, if I think of it, creativity has no limit. So it really depends on how creative you are in making all these characters or your IP likable. That's the key, I would say. Which it really depends on what you are trying to portray.
Right. So I think just now you mentioned a lot about the various learning experience you have, like expanding overseas, especially to Thailand, Indonesia. So what would you say is your most impactful learning experience that changed the way that you view the business or operate the business?
Definitely don't expand further. Wow. It's very tiring, first of all. And I realized we haven't get our foothold strong enough before we really expand. So that's the biggest learning point. Holy potatoes, we got our good success. We make 6 digits in 1 month. That was 4 years ago. You still can make 6 digits in 1 month. But now it's so hard to even make 5 digits, to even sustain a 5 digit. So we have to keep adapting along the way and keep building on the brand first. So we went a bit too fast, I would say. We actually expanded to Indonesia and Thailand in the same year. So it was really, really tiring. And we were sort of diverted from game development for a while. We were busy on expansion. So I would say that's the biggest learning point is get your base really, really strong until it's so it can generate a very stable cash flow. At the end of the day, cash is still important to keep the company running. But at the same time, also your products and keep churning out new products rather than keep expanding and keep adding more problems to your plate, really.
Right.
So once your plate is really stable, always get a very stable stream of revenue, your product recognition is very strong, then you start expanding. I think that was one of the mistakes, I would say. Yeah. Although it was a good experience. Yeah.
When you talk about expansion, I would assume you're talking about like localization into the language, marketing, etc. Would that, because I assume that your game would be downloadable like anywhere in the world, right? Like it's not restricted. So when you're talking about expansion, you mean like localizing to the local context and culture?
No, there's two sides of it. So just now, because you were asking about my experience from Thailand and Indonesia, that's one of the expansion. But another aspect, like what you mentioned, localization, all that is definitely is a must to do if you want to reach out to the bigger market. And one thing is leverage on others' strength. That's also one thing I learned. Don't do everything yourself. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to do DaylightX also, to share as much of all this know-how, because a lot of people didn't know what's happening behind the scene. And there's a lot of small little things we have done to form the whole equation. Even the equation we had also may not be perfect, and depending on what the market needs also. But at least I have set up, I'm still trying to make sure my base for Holy Potatoes and Life for Potatoes is strong enough to build the branding. But at least, thankfully, I was asking you previously, how do you know about my company? And also, you also remember it's a dead potato game company. At least it can remember easily. Because you remember Holy Potatoes more than Daylight Studios. That's easy. You tend to know the game more than the company. Until the game maybe like become Final Fantasy under 15 already. Maybe you should know Square Enix by then. Yeah, so that's the angle that I've been trying very, very hard to maintain. So it's not going to be easy, and it's 9 years already. It took me 9 years to even build up to this point of time. So, yeah.
Okay, I just have one final question for you. So what is one advice that you would give to aspiring startup founders, especially maybe in the game development scene? Let's say I'm a student now looking to start a game. Like I want, it's my life goal to start my own game, and I have this wonderful game that I want to launch, but I don't know how to do it. What is the one advice that you give to them?
Okay, so one of the biggest advice I would say is keep investing in yourself and keep learning and keep a very open mindset. Because I was so involved in my business, I tend to overlook in myself actually. You know, I mean, I learned a lot of things along the way, and the painful way, like we learn like we should not go into the market, expand to Thailand yourself. You know, I do everything myself. I even went down to Thailand. I stayed there for a few months to actually manage everything.
Right.
So, and the fastest way is actually learn from other people or work with other people.
Right.
So actually, I would say the best investment is to invest time into yourself to make yourself really strong enough and also resilient enough. Because at the end of the day, there will be a lot of obstacles and challenges along the way. It's actually life is very like a game if you think about it. Just that we cannot move backwards. There's no safe point, and there will always be a lot of challenges and setbacks and bosses to fight. And you need to keep leveling up, get new wisdom, get new skills. For me, I'm quite thankful I have gained a lot of skills. I know how the whole business ecosystem work. I can do admin, legal, finance, almost everything. I can read legal documents. I'm also a programmer. I'm still doing programming every day. I learn a bit about UX. I learn a bit about art. I learn about how other entrepreneurs think and try to correlate with my own experience and make it into myself. So a lot of, and that's the only thing you can control at the end of the day. So you investing in yourself and is the best that you can do, and keep learning. I only started reading extensively this year. Actually, I never read at all for my last 8 years. So that's one other advice also to keep reading, because right now it's so highly accessible with Kindle and with Kindle and all that. You can get books really easy. And I wish someone has told me like 9 years ago when I first started to read first to get all the wisdom, because like some of the books are written 50 years ago and the theories inside is still applicable till today in this era, although they made some tweaks to fit the with new examples. So that's where I realized, oh man, I should have done it like 8 or 9 years ago. So definitely have to keep learning and keep trying. Learn to fail. Definitely you must learn to fail, because if life is too smooth sailing, it's actually not good for you. You won't get to learn. Yeah, but whether you fail hard or fail like for us, we fail really, really hard because we weren't prepared for like pandemic. We thought our first holy battles were doing very well. We thought second title would do as well, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of if only that we have done this, but in life there's so much you can do. You cannot load the. If only I can load the save and go back to the future. I wish I can do that. So we can only move forward and use our past experience, keep moving on, keep learning. Yeah, I felt that I stopped learning after I graduated from NUS. Yeah, but I'm more of experience a lot of things and learning the hard way. So right now I actually always fix 2 hours, 1 or 2 hours to always learn what others have done, and then bring it into myself, and then see how I can make it into my own values. So definitely that's the one big advice that I will give.
Right. Okay, thank you so much for actually agreeing to do this interview today with me. I think like for me personally, I learned a lot about game development and the struggles of a game developer, because I think there are a lot of aspects that a lot of people don't consider. Like they just think, oh, game is just creating a game and then selling it, right? But actually there's a lot of moving parts to it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. And I'm also writing some articles from this week onwards, trying to share all my past experience. I feel that the people out there really need to know actually the game industry may look nice on the outside, but there's a lot of struggles. Especially even in Singapore, there's not much game development left also. So I just want to tell my side of the story and hopefully shed some light. What is it like? And I think no matter what industry you are going to go in, as long as you are very, you know what you want, you have end goal in mind, you are persistent in the desire, anything is possible. It's just you have to stick long enough to see the end result. It's really like a game. You have to fight all the way to the end boss also. But is that the end? No, it's not the end. Still, there's always second part and third part and fourth part. It depends on how you see and how you progress forward. Yeah.
Right. Cool. I actually look forward to those articles, and like maybe like that will give me a even deeper view on the game industry.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. We have come to the end of this episode. I hope that this has been an insightful learning experience for you. Do follow us on Spotify and Google Podcasts to catch future episodes. Till then, take care.